Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, but today I think I'm going to tell you about the three books that I believe everyone will benefit from, and these are the three books that have shaped my life the most. So the first book is How to Not Die by Dr. Michael Greger. Now, this is quite an interesting one because ever since I was a young boy, I've always eaten a lot of meat. I'm talking red meat, chicken, wild meat, literally everything meat I've always eaten. And this book advocates for veganism. So it was very interesting to learn about different perspectives regarding nutrition. And what helped me the most about this book was how it broke down, I think, the 10 diseases in America that kill the most people every year, like lung cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all of those stuff. And it gave you action-packed tips and advice of how to not get those diseases because they are very genetic in some cases, but what you can do to significantly lessen the chances of you getting them. And it gave me a lot of tips on how to eat healthy. And even though I didn't agree with everything in the book, like specifically the chapters about how meat is inherently harmful to you, I did agree with a lot of it, and I do think it's very important to eat vegetables and fruits. And that book really just changed how I viewed my diet, and it told you the few foods that you definitely should avoid under all circumstances, and it also told me, I should say, which foods like you can eat and which foods are really good for you, and how to know if food is good for you. So a small tip I remember from the book is to always, when you're in the grocery store, buy the food with the most color in, the brightest color. So an example would be when you're buying onions, don't buy white onions, buy the red ones, because the red skin has more color in, and what that color tells you is that it contains more antioxidants and it contains more nutrients, so it's healthier for you. So yeah, that was the first book, How to Not Die by Dr. Michael Greger. And you won't be immortal, but trust me when I say it's a really good read, very informative. It's quite thick and it's helped me a lot in my life. The second book, Last Chance to See by Douglas Adams. Now, you might know Douglas Adams from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I've read that book also, but I think his best work is this nonfiction book, Last Chance to See. So just to give you a brief synopsis, Douglas Adams, along with a biologist, decide to go on a journey all across the world, and they explore significantly endangered species, and they try to look at the species before they go extinct. And in the book, I think, was written in the early 2000s, and in the version I own, it had like the ending chapter explaining which of the species they set out to find actually went extinct, and it really just set into perspective like how important we are on Earth, and how every species on Earth is interconnected, and how we shouldn't just think about ourselves when we're here, but we should think about the whole picture and really just try to see everything as an interconnected web. And on top of that, it was also just a really fun read. If you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or what's the detective, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, you'll know Douglas Adams is a very witty guy. Like, there are even speeches of him on YouTube, and he's like crazy witty, a really good orator, really good writer. So I read the book just because Douglas Adams wrote it, and I found out I discovered that it really changed my life, and it really opened up my mind to possibilities I didn't think about before. Like, I never really understood how significant animals are, and I didn't even think everything is interconnected in the way that it is, and I didn't see the importance of caring for other species. But now, after having read that, not only do I see the importance, but I also got inspired by it a bit, and it really changed how I'm thinking about things. And it was a very interesting book. It's also a bit of a narrative because they're constantly looking for these animals and you don't know if they're going to find them or not. So the suspense was also making it really interesting for me. And then the third book, last but not least, I think this is the book I read when I was the youngest of the three, because I read How to Not Die in early high school, and I read Last Chance to See, I think, second year of university, and this one I think I read at the end of primary school. But it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's a great book, and it basically just teaches you the basics of interacting with people. And I'd say the core message of the book was just be nice. Be nice to people, because when you're nice to people, firstly, they're most of the time they're going to be nice back to you. But secondly, when you're nice to people, it also just makes you feel good about yourself. And it's a book that I can't say I reread it multiple times, but I've definitely scoped out a few chapters again later in my life. And it's always very insightful. And sure, you can use the information he gives you in the book to manipulate people with. But I think just because it can be used for bad doesn't mean it's a bad book. And I think the net effect of the book is extremely positive. The net effect it has had on my life has been amazing. And I think it's a great book, and I think pretty much everyone should read it. So yeah, those are my three most inspirational, or the three most influential books I've read in my life. And I'm looking forward to hearing any comments you guys might have. So thank you, and peace.